So this video is inspired by the current state of the world and the fact that elections are coming up. And I wanted to make a quick video on the importance of questioning everything, thinking for yourself, doing your own research, and not just believing anything you see. I know we are taught and conditioned to believe that the news and the government are to protect us and to inform us, but clearly that's not the case, and we have to question everything, think for ourselves, and really think critically. And later on in the video, I definitely want to talk about the Donald Trump assassination attempt and all the weird stuff that's gone on around that and is still ongoing with all the weird stuff with like the Secret Service and everything. But before I get into that, I actually wanted to do this real quick. So before we get into that, I actually wanted to talk about this art piece that I made last election. Just randomly felt like it, started painting, but it was the 2020 election. MF Doom also died that Halloween before the election. So I got the Mad Villain album cover in the top right. How I was feeling at the time with how divided America felt, and it just felt like the division was getting worse and worse. And yeah, I guess my expression of how I felt at that time. And you know, the election's coming up this year. Since I was young, I've been very against how the system works and how corrupt everything is. I really care about politics, but I have always cared about questioning everything, taking care of myself, and there's so many big distractions going on, and I've always wanted to share my thoughts and opinions during times like this, because I think it's very important to remind people to think for themselves, to question everything, and not be so emotional and not react to so many things, but you know, see what's going on, think about it, do some research, come up with your own conclusion, and respond consciously instead of just reacting through emotion, picking a side, left or right, Democrat, Republican. It's all the same bullshit. It's just to divide and conquer the people. It's just to confuse people, to pick a side, to hate the other side. It really just doesn't make any sense, because a government run on democracy should be for the people, by the people, and it's everything but that. It's very corrupt. Whoever has the most money and control, they play out the agendas, whether it's the left or the right. It's very anti-human, doesn't make sense for me. So I just want to remind people to take care of themselves, mind, body, and soul, especially in times like this with the election coming up. There's always going to be some crazy shit going on, trying to divide people even more. But yeah, I guess that leads me into the Donald Trump assassination attempt. This whole video got inspired just by the quote, "question everything." Like, it's so simple but effective, because it's so easy to be conditioned into thinking a certain way and believing a certain thing, and it's just bad for humanity and the people. There's definitely some things to question with this going on. And after this happened and I found out about it on X, knowing about how corrupt the government is and JFK and other government operations in the past, I truly believe that it was a set up by the CIA and Secret Service, and they missed the shot. So that's insane that that's probably what happened. But I also had this thought that maybe it could be a part of Trump's team. It was like a publicity stunt to make him look like this hero. And you know, it's just, I can't trust anything I see on the news, but these are just the two thoughts that I had, which is insane. Like, I've heard about all this stuff with JFK and the CIA back in the day, but the fact that this just happened and we're living in it is pretty insane. And my first initial thought of like the Secret Service and the CIA kind of setting it up in a way is kind of making more and more sense as the days go by, because of a few reasons. First off, the BlackRock connection. So if you don't know what BlackRock is, it's pretty much just a finance company and owns pretty much a majority of companies in America. What does that have to do with this assassination attempt? Well, the shooter, the 20-year-old kid, coincidentally, somehow he was featured in a BlackRock ad, which is super weird, but you know, that might just be a coincidence, right? Well, it gets even weirder because the cyber blackout that happened a few days after the assassination attempt with the company CrowdStrike, which left airports, banks, and a bunch of other jobs kind of out of business for a majority of that day. And that cybersecurity company CrowdStrike is playing a huge part in preventing voter fraud this election. And coincidentally, guess who owns a majority of that company? BlackRock. So BlackRock owns a majority share of CrowdStrike. They're playing a big part in preventing voter fraud. They had that huge cyber blackout happen a few days after the assassination attempt. And the kid who attempted the assassination was in a BlackRock ad. Just a bunch of weird stuff to think about, but it doesn't stop there because Representative Sheila Jackson passed away 6 days after the assassination attempt, and she was involved in Secret Service oversight.
Condolences on the passing of your colleague, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. Ms. Jackson Lee was always engaged in the oversight of the Secret Service, and her passing is a great loss to this body.
Super weird and another coincidence. And finally, most recently, the director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, resigned. So yeah, a lot of weird shit happening. I'm assuming that even more weird shit is gonna keep on happening heading towards the election. And I just wanted to make a video to remind you to focus on yourself, on your health, mental and physical, to focus on your vision, and just to not get distracted by all the crazy shit happening, to not get emotional and reactive to everything. Think critically, question everything. That's the main message of this video, is to just question everything and don't get brainwashed. So I hope you found some value in this video. I hope you've been well. Thanks for watching. Peace.